They discovered it, they read it, and they applied it. It's the golden thread that connects the titans of the self-development industry, the source that spawned millions of millionaires, the original blueprint to success.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Think and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's a classic. A classic.
And I love Think and Grow Rich. I love it. It's right here. I mean, it's one of my favorite books of all time.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
This material is what changed my life. This is the material I study every day. From being an immigrant woman, coming from poverty, and really coming to America and literally achieving the American dream. I can't even tell you how grateful I am for this man, for what he did for me and my family.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
People don't realize is that when we let our ego get in our way, ego is the loss, the fear of loss. So need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be hurt, fearful. When that trajectory changes, what happens is you continually go the wrong way. So my job as a coach is to say, let's get into the enjoyment of the direct pursuit of my potential. Right? And so when the light went on, it was not about the potential of making money and being an entrepreneur, which is one of my specialties. And I said to him, look, this is an opportunity now to show how great you really are. We can't let the outside voices, right, determine our success. The happiness that we have comes within. Why are you going to give that control to somebody else?
Thoughts become things. And I always wonder, why did no one teach us this? Why did we not learn this in school? Why did we not learn this from our families? If you make your study a priority, your life will change.
And I came up with 4 really valuable things that I took stock in. And the first one was gratitude. Simple gratitude. Although I grew up with nothing, I was always grateful. Throughout the whole process of consistently, persistently pursuing my potential, I was grateful. It made my past better, my present brighter, and my future even brighter than that. In fact, I tell people all the time, if you want to change your life, change your employee's life, your family life, it's very simple. 2 words, say thank you.
Training. Today's training is about identity and purpose. It's identity and purpose training because I have found that a lot of our purpose is derived from our identity. And whoop, I'm talking. Well, let's try that again. Thank you so much. Nick, are you putting this through on Clubhouse as well, or do I have to log in?
The link is on your phone. We are already live. I'm patching the audio through, but I would love it if you could at least jump on stage so that it pings all of your friends on Clubhouse as well. And good morning to you. Happy Wednesday. Do you mind if I just go ahead and set the room here for us?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm logged in.
Perfect. I'm going to mute on Clubhouse so then you can go ahead and unmute and everybody will be able to hear us. So happy Wednesday, everybody. And welcome to another edition of the Napoleon Hill Institute training. Of course, we are here with the chairman of the Napoleon Hill Institute, Mr. David Meltzer. And today's topic for our training is identity and purpose. So of course, David is going to guide us for about 30 minutes today to make sure our handset, heart set, and mindset are all aligned. And for everybody that is joining us, whether you're live here in the Breakfast with Champions, the best room and community on Clubhouse, or of course, if you're joining us from anywhere online, if you would like the guide and exercise from today's training, all you need to do is reach out to David directly, david@dmeltzer.com. And of course, it would not be the Nickawam and David without some invitations, but not obligations. So if you would like to join us in person tomorrow and Friday, we are going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And of course, closing out the month of July on the 29th, we are going to be in Melville, Long Island. I know everybody is absolutely ecstatic that we're going to be going to that side of New York. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to join us, make sure you're joining our text community. So you get the reminders on where we are going to be, which is just 949-298-2777. 2905. And with that said, David, let's get rocking and rolling with our identity and purpose training.
Thank you so much, Nick of WAM. We are ready to go. I don't think I need you there, do I, Nick? Okay. All right. All right, here we go. Napoleon Hill training. Thank you for your patience, everyone. It's not always as smooth as I want it to be, but we are here today to talk about identity and purpose. Why alignment with identity and purpose changes everything. Most people live their lives reacting to circumstance, chasing what others define as success without ever stopping to ask three simple but powerful questions. Who am I? Where am I? When am I? I've learned through both massive wins and painful losses that alignment within the context of identity and purpose is everything. When I was misaligned in my identity, environment, or timing, even my greatest efforts created friction. But when I found clarity around who I was, became honest about where I was, and respected when I was, everything changed. My business, my relationships, and my peace of mind. This training, which I am happy to send you today, the outlines, guides, and exercises, and even my book, just email me, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com, if you'd like to have this training, which is designed to walk you through these three dimensions, plus one more essential layer, why you are, your purpose. Applying that why to an identity aligned with where you want to be or better, with a meaning of the past that doesn't cast a shadow over your self-image, your identity. If you're willing to pause, reflect, and realign, you'll walk away with a new sense of direction, not one based on hustle or noise, but grounded in clarity and confidence. And most importantly, as Napoleon Hill teaches, the purpose, the definite purpose, the intention of what you do, what you say, what you think, what you feel, and what you believe. Now let's begin with this identity and purpose training with lesson number 1, which is who I am. When you are unclear about your identity, you live by default. You become a drifter, not a designer, not a co-creator or commander. Success without self-awareness is an unsustainable and an unfulfilling divine direction. So many executives that I help are chasing. They're chasing what they think they want. They're chasing the promotions, the money, the houses, the pony in the backyard, only to create more and more interference between I am and who I am, which creates too much interference, which creates a lack of energy, which they define as burnout. They never pause. They never look to define what truly matters to them, and looking at the non-negotiable behaviors and identifying what's important to just the human experience that's indicated by the human experience itself of what's most important. God tells us what's most important by telling us, if you don't breathe, you die. If you don't eat, you die. If you don't drink, you die. If you don't sleep, you die. If you don't move, you die. So if you're curious what non-negotiables to start with, I would start with the non-negotiables that are aligned with the human experience to keep your heart beating, knowing that the human experience is defined by the time the heart starts till the time it stops. And most people don't pause to identify their non-negotiables of that health with sleep, breathing, eating, drinking, and movement. Even furthermore, with their family, or with their finance, or with their faith, or studying the relativity of it all, the meaning of the past, aligned with the future they desire, taking the mistakes, setbacks, and failures to learn from, to realign with where they want to be or better, including their successes. We need to know, for the sake of what not will be happy when. Identity is the foundation of purpose. Identity is your foundation of a definiteness of purpose. I am. What am I doing to interfere with it? I am is your identity, knowing that it's the wisdom and faith that will shorten the distance of that resistance so you never burn out. Knowing your values and your daily practices and your execution models to incentivize, motivate intuitively and inspirationally to strengthen you with passion, purpose, and profitability to shape the divine direction and to create the resilience to realign with the detours to make them as divine as well. We need to define these non-negotiables in the values, practices, and execution with gratitude, with forgiveness, with accountability in order to apply our why. Make sure you review and recant and reiterate I am statements. What am I doing to interfere with it? Anchor yourself in the purpose, in the passion, in your profitability. Embrace the journey for the sake of what? For the sake of who I am, including the failures, the setbacks, the mistakes, the defining moments, the historical relevances, as part of your essence, a part of your identity and purpose, making it much easier to align your identity and purpose with what's doing well, what's stable, and what you think is doing well, according to the subject matter, topic, or expertise in which you're pursuing, according to the industry, career, and job in which you want to participate in. Utilizing who I am will create clarity, harmony with your divine direction, allowing you to be protected, promoted, loved, and perfected, and allow for the other I ams which will follow. The second I am is where I am. Once we know who I am, we know to know where I am, to know where our feet are, because we have to meet where our feet are each day to stay present, to not cast a shadow over the future with the experiences of my past. Even with this clear identity, the wrong environment can suffocate or interfere with the progress we're looking for. If we surround ourselves with the wrong people and the wrong idea, where I am has a critical component of interfering with where I want to be or who I want to become. Where are you today, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically? Where we are must support where we're going, aligning the divine direction and divine detours and divine time to accelerate and aggregate and compound exponentially for the sake of our purpose to get to where we want to be or better in that acceleration, aggregation, and compounding impact. So many entrepreneurs with vision get stuck with toxicity in their personal and professional relationships with partners and employees and channel partners and associates and other vendors and circumstances and events, and where we are drains the energy and interferes with the infinite energy, the infinite intelligence, the infinite inspiration, and clouds our decisions. These wrong voices create the wrong choices. We need to make sure that we are where our feet are. Not I'll be happy when, but for the sake of where I am and who I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am worthy. What am I doing to interfere with it? Your environment silently shapes the results. Curate your environment with intention by doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing around the same places that people are doing the same, where the good voices create good choices. Take inventory of yourself and make sure it's aligned with the surroundings. Take inventory of not only who I am, but where I am to promote the acceleration, aggregation, the growth that we look for, but also identify what is interfering with I am, whether it's who or where. We need to evaluate the circles that we are creating in these relationships, teams, and even the digital ware that exists today, the social silos that we are participating in. We need to shift our internal environment through gratitude and intention to know and make sure that we're doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing where we want to be or better. And understanding in that circle that the evaluation and the prioritization occurs through understanding one, the relativity of us, to study the relativity of where I am, the associations that are created where I am, and of course, what am I learning through being responsible by attracting it, by participating in this perception? What am I learning? Therefore, within the context of relativity, association, and this feeding of where I am, not only will I accelerate or progress more, but I will clear the interference between the infinite and myself. Because it's that wisdom of learning the lessons in the human experience that allows us to clear that interference. And it's the faith that that interference, even though it presents itself where I am, the humility of and necessity of knowing, although there's no evidence or the evidence is contrary to where I want to be, that I am exactly where I am supposed to be. What am I doing to interfere with it? Where I am in the environment that I create, am I outside of myself or inside of myself? Notating that I can't find outside of myself what I can't see where it exists inside of myself. Where I am, who I am, allows you to co-create command where I am and who I am to figure out what I am doing to interfere with it. The third lesson, divine time. When I am. You can do the right thing at the wrong time and still not get to where you want to be or better, delaying the infinite divine direction in which you have utilized who I am and where I am by not utilizing awareness to see when I am in the divine timing. Misreading your season leads to an unnecessary interference or stress and missed opportunities and options and touches of favor, for we feel as if we've given everything that we have, but we haven't been given. And seeing the more we give, the more we're given, utilizes those values of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration in order to apply I am to not only who and where, but when. Divine time is one of the most difficult things in entrepreneurship, because 90% of the time of the when is spent with all the effort we have. 90% of the time that it takes to get to where we want to be or better only gets us to 25% of the way there. Even though it only leaves 10% of the time that it's going to take, most people quit before they get to 25% of the way there. And another 99% of the 1% that remains quit before they get to 50% of the way there. And then there's only about 5% of the time that it's going to take, but yet another 99%. So I've created the 1,000-step philosophy with the big things in my life, determinative upon who I am, where I am, and when I am. I tell myself with the biggest things in my life, it's going to take 1,000 steps to get there. So I know already that it's going to take 90% of everything I got, money, time, emotion, and value, everything I got, relationships, emotions, everything I got, just to get to 250 steps. I also know that it's only going to take 10% of time to get to the other 75% because of exponentiality of intention. So although it takes 90% of the time to get to 25% or 250 steps, once again, I know it's approximately about another just 5% to get me to 500 steps and another 5% to get me all the way there or better. So many times we misread the seasons, the steps, the highs, the lows, the slippery, the dirty, the 2 steps back, the 3 steps forward. That creates unnecessary resistance to the distance of 1,000 steps. If anybody would like that document of 1,000 steps, I'd be happy to send it with the exercises and guides of this training, identity and purpose training. David at dmeltzer.com. David at dmeltzer.com. So many companies that I'm working with launch major initiatives during a personal crisis or a financial drought when the timing, the when I am, simply wasn't aligned. They've created more resistance in a situation without resolving the I am of who and where before they get into the when. Greatness, potential isn't rushed. When you trust the timing, you act with faith, not fear. You react to the fear and then respond with faith. You react to the fear with the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, worried or anxious or overwhelmed. But then you respond with faith that I'm exactly where I am, who I am, and when I am. We need to take the time to take inventory to identify the current season, whether it's the plowing, the seeding, the watering, or the harvest. We need to plant to build, grow to learn, and harvest to execute. Using some sort of timing practice to understand what's urgent versus what's important, to know your what, who, how, to determine your now, to prioritize your now so that you can apply your why. We need to have the divine patience of divine time to know the plowing, the seeding, the watering, and the harvesting. Make sure we take purposeful intention to align with our identification. Take aligned action, words, thoughts, beliefs, feelings. Don't have to force it or resist it, go over it, under it, through it, around it, or logic it, or analyze it. Just stop and drop and flow with it in the divine direction, in the divine detours, with divine time. The fourth lesson is integration of the harmony of who, where, and when. True success doesn't come from grinding and balance. It comes from alignment and harmony. When identity, environment, and timing are in harmony, flow shortens the distance of resistance and replaces force. So many businesses are looking to pivot and succeed, not just because of a smart idea, but because the founder was ready to harmonize the who in the right space, the where, and waited for the perfect moment when. So many companies I work with are just early. Some are late. Alignment and harmony accelerates, aggregates, and compounds the progress in pursuit of the potential. Misalignment multiplies resistance. Answer these questions in harmony, not balance. Answer these questions with brutal honesty. Be annoying to yourself, repetitive and honest, of asking, who am I? Where am I? When am I? And what am I doing to interfere with it? Use these answers to create personal harmony and a guidepost into the divine, direction, detours, and time. Integrate what we learn from the inventory that we take of self, knowing we can't find outside of us what we can't see inside of us. The harmony of who, where, and when is essential in the alignment of where and who and how we want to become. The final lesson of understanding who I am, where I am, when I am, and the harmony of who, where, and when is to apply our why for the sake of what? Why I am. What am I doing to interfere with it? Napoleon Hill talks about definiteness of purpose and talks about the drifters that have no purpose and just move with the wind with no divine direction, cannot handle the detours as divine, and certainly don't allow for divine time. Purpose is actually the thoughts about the purpose are the energy behind everything that we do, because it is the purpose that clears the interference with the wisdom and the faith of the infinite energy in which we're part and parcel to allow ourselves to collaborate, coordinate, and command. Without a clear why, even the best strategy feels empty. Your reason drives your resilience. Your reason drives your resilience. It is this idea of learning to love what we don't like or love about what we love that drives the why I am. You see, so many times we get confused with our why because there's things we don't like or love about what we love. We do this all the time with the people that are most relative to us, who we love the most, and we destroy our relationships or create interference with us and people that we love because we don't take the time to learn to love what we don't like or love about who we love, where we love, when we love, by asking ourselves why I am. Because without a clear why, for the sake of what, even the best relationships, even the best strategies, even the best places, even the best events, all the best of life just feels empty. Your purpose and your thoughts about your purpose provide you the drive that allows you to be consistent and persistent in the pursuit of your potential. So many founders of businesses that I work with raise millions of dollars to build a business, a service, a product, a solution, or a brand, but lose to the interference, creating lack of motivation and inspiration, intuition, intelligence, and energy. Because instead of pursuing their potential, they were chasing validation of I am, without their deeper purpose, without their definiteness of potential, without their definiteness of alignment with the divine direction, the divine detours, and the divine time. Stop chasing validation. Ask yourself, why does it matter what I think they think? Because you don't know what they think, because you barely know what you think. Because most of what you think is unconscious and subconscious to you. So in the conscious, you don't even know what you think. And now you're somehow powerful enough to know or think what they think. You're just creating interference between you and I am. We need to apply our why every single day. This idea of understanding that we have to ask not for validation of I'll be happy when, or they should think of this and that of me, or they think of this and that of me. Instead, we need to ask ourselves in the I am, for the sake of what? We need to learn to love what we don't like or love about what we love, what we do, the activities that we get paid for or unpaid for, sleep, or our families, or whatever activities it is that you seek or chase validation from. Instead, ask ourselves the best strategy to not feel empty and feel resistance, but be inspired and energetic, is to ask ourselves, for the sake of what? Your why is not found. It's remembered, recollected, and reunited, and remembered with a source to make you a greater resource, one in which is infinite in its energy and its intelligence and its intuition and its time. It's rooted in service and legacy, and the impact that you want to have on others is exponential and infinite in its nature as well. Your why isn't found, it's remembered, recollected, and reminded to apply your why in why I am, for the sake of why I am and what I am and where I am and when I am, and integrating a harmony with the application of the why, the inspiration and intuition, intelligence, and energy that it provides unlimited amounts of that you're interfering with. Why I am provides me so much of everything, more than enough of everything. Remember, remind, and recollect. Reflect on the moments that made you feel the most fulfilled in the flow. What were you doing? Who were you helping? When were you doing it? And how did you apply your why for the sake of what am I? Who am I? Where am I doing this? Ask yourself, if everything I have was taken away, what would I still fight for? For the sake of what would I continue to do that? Because I have experienced that. Everything was taken away. And then for the sake of my non-negotiables, my health, of what God tells me is most important, what I breathe and eat and drink and sleep and move. And then my family, then my finance and faith, and the study of it all in harmony of integration with the study of relativity and time in order to effectuate the divine. Don't be afraid to create legacy statements of I am, what am I doing to interfere with it? Whether it's where I am, when I am, who I am, or why I am, what am I doing to interfere with it? We need to know our identity. We don't need to validate it. We need to apply our why to our identity. We don't have to validate it. We have thoughts about our purpose by utilizing for the sake of what we don't have to seek. We'll be happy when, where, who, or why. This alignment, this harmony changes everything. Know who I am. Know where I am. Know when I am. Integrate them, the who, the where, and the when, so we can apply why I am and figure out what we're doing to interfere with it. We need to live aligned with identity and purpose. The thoughts about our purpose are our purpose, and it leads to the intentionality that Napoleon Hill talks about, a definiteness of purpose. Stop drifting, especially when things become challenging. Guess where drifting takes you? To more challenging, to more of what you don't want, what's missing, what you don't have. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones doing the most. They're the ones who move with harmonized purpose. They do say think, feel, and believe, align with the divine direction. They're aligned with the divine when the detours come to indicate where to be or better. They're aligned with divine time because they've aligned who they are, where they are, when they are, and integrate in harmony so they can apply why they are. We don't need to wait for permission, perfection, or the right moment to start living intentionally with identity and purpose. We just need to answer 4 simple questions, harmony of honesty and action. Who am I and what am I doing to interfere with it? Where am I and what am I doing to interfere with it? When am I and what am I doing to interfere with it? Why am I and what am I doing to interfere with it? When your identity matches your environment, when your timing supports your objectives and divine direction, when your purpose and thoughts about your purpose fuel your activities, your actions in that divine direction, creating divine detours and allowing for divine time, we don't just create success. We create fulfillment, passion, purpose, and profitability. We become a beacon of light, liberating not only the light within us, but the light within others with clarity of a unified, abundant, infinite source in a world others perceive of chaos. We have clarity and harmony and focus and purpose and identity. And when we can learn to love what we don't like or love about what we love, and we do that every single day without quitting, utilizing the 1,000 steps to pursue your potential, your greatness, your best self, not what's missing, not what you don't have, not what other people want or think, but what you want and think of what, where, when, and how you want to be there. Life will tell you all its secrets. It'll be easy. It'll allow you to identify I am and what is the dis-easy that I'm creating. And when, how, and who, and why we do that, that's when our lives get truly exciting.
Are closed out, and thank you everybody for joining us once again for another edition of the Napoleon Hill Institute training. Of course, today's topic has been identity and purpose. Want to thank everybody for joining us, whether it's online all across the world or live here in the Breakfast with Champions, the best room and community in Clubhouse. As a reminder to everybody from today's training, make sure to reach out to David directly if you would like the guide and exercise from today's training. And if for any reason you don't have a copy of his book, which he will send you a copy, sign a copy, and even pay for shipping, all you need to do is reach out to David directly, david@dmeltzer.com. And of course, as a reminder of the invitations, but not obligations for you to come and join us in person. Some of our upcoming schedule looks like what is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tomorrow and Friday, we'll be closing out the month of July in Melville, Long Island, for an incredible over-the-top VIP dinner, and then kicking off the month of August with Ramona, California, Dallas, Texas, Orange County, and of course, Puerto Rico with the Entrepreneurs Organization. So ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to join us on the road all across the world, over 200 cities this year, make sure to join the text community so you're getting the reminders on where we're going to be. And that's just 949-298-2905. Of course, we will be back on Friday with David's free Friday trainings that he's been doing for over 26 years, both online, streaming everywhere, as well as in the Breakfast with Champions. But in the meantime, please, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday ahead. And as David always says, continue to be more interested than interesting, and be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thanks so much, everybody. Hit it, Gigi.
They discovered it, they read it, and they applied it. It's the golden thread that connects the titans of the self-development industry, the source that spawned millions of millionaires, the original blueprint to success.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Think and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's a classic. A classic.
And I love Think and Grow Rich. I love it. It's right here. I mean, it's one of my favorite books of all time.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
This material is what changed my life. This is the material I study every day. From being an immigrant woman, coming from poverty, and really coming to America and literally achieving the American dream. I can't even tell you how grateful I am for this man, for what he did for me and my family.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
People don't realize is that when we let our ego get in our way, ego is the loss, the fear of loss. So need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be hurt, fearful. When that trajectory changes, what happens is you continually go the wrong way. So my job as a coach is to say, let's get into the enjoyment of the direct pursuit of my potential. Right? And so when the light went on, it was not about the potential of making money and being an entrepreneur, which is one of my specialties. And I said to him, look, this is an opportunity now to show how great you really are. We can't let the outside voices, right, determine our success. The happiness that we have comes within. Why are you going to give that control to somebody else?
Thoughts become things. And I always wonder, why did no one teach us this? Why did we not learn this in school? Why did we not learn this from our families? If you make your study a priority, your life will change.
And I came up with 4 really valuable things that I took stock in. And the first one was gratitude. Simple gratitude. Although I grew up with nothing, I was always grateful. Throughout the whole process of consistently, persistently pursuing my potential, I was grateful. It made my past better, my present brighter, and my future even brighter than that. In fact, I tell people all the time, if you want to change your life, change your employee's life, your family life, it's very simple. 2 words, say thank you.